Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. You know, I just don't talk enough anime on this channel, and thus I thought I would remedy that by introducing a brand new segment I like to call the Top 10 Anime of the Season. Yeah, I know, very original, Jan Michael. This is why no one watches your stuff. What are you gonna put on the list? The most popular shows that everyone's already watching, or stupid shit that nobody will ever watch? Haha, that's where I got you fuckers, because you see, this isn't a ranking of my own making. Oh no. See, if I did that, I most definitely would end up leaving something off the list that should be on it. And truthfully, whenever you do one of these rankings, you tend to skewer it based on your own personal preference, so I'm not gonna do that. Oh no, I'm going off of your list. That's right, I scoured the internet, took a look what everybody was saying was the best shows of the season, what critics thought were the best of the season, and then I compiled a list based on where everybody was most unanimous on. So if you want to get angry at anyone, get angry at yourself for not talking about your favorite shows more. So sit back, relax as I go through your list, beginning with number 10. Number 10. Tune in to the Midnight Heart. High schooler Arisu Yamabuki attempts to identify Apollo, a mysterious streamer who provided comfort to him via radio. He narrows her identity down to 4 girls in his school's broadcasting club, vowing to help them achieve their dreams while searching for her. We're starting off with a show that actually received mixed to positive reception, which proves that sometimes we just need some good old-fashioned harem anime fan service to get us through the day. Don't get mad at me, it's your list, and from what I understand, the story and characters here are some of the highlights of the show. And I say that because this is a series I have not seen, and thus am just taking everyone else's words on. Moving on to negatives, fans of the manga have stated that the animation here lacks the punch that the original art had. Taking a look at that same fan service shot in the manga, yeah, I can see where they're coming from. Fans were also initially put off by the protagonist, though have stated he got better as the series went on. And despite the mixed reception, the show was popular enough to get greenlit for a second season. If you're looking for some good old-fashioned harem romance, this may be a series to go back and check out. Number 9. Sentenced to be a Hero. Xylo Forbarts, a disgraced former knight, is forced into a penal unit after being convicted of killing a goddess. Certain convicts in this world are resurrected endlessly to fight monsters on the front lines, turning heroism into an agonizing eternal punishment. No doubt this was one of the most looked forward to shows of the season, as even I was aware of and excited to check out the anime. And that first hour-long episode is fantastic. Heck, I even saw some people calling that premiere a masterpiece. It is beautiful, and the animation holds up throughout the entire season, which is goddamn impressive. Action is where it needs to be, and the story takes many interesting turns. However, just about everything else does start to slip after that initial episode. Pacing takes a big hit, character development is lacking despite how interesting it was to see how each character became a hero, and the protagonist is dull. I also don't like the whole lowly goddess thing, which also got parodied in the Sentenced to be a Lolicon Abridged series, so...
You have been found guilty of heresy and treason against the capital. For your crimes, you have been hereby sentenced to marry the lolly goddess Tereta.
What? She's not thick at all!
You are to live out the rest of your days as a fellow
No!
Lolicon!
Look, all in all, it's a fine show that did have its slip-ups. Regardless, I am still looking forward to the second season that has been confirmed. Number 8. Journal with Witch. 15-year-old Asa Takumi is adopted by her estranged reclusive novelist aunt, Makio Kodai, after Asa's parents die in a car accident. I'm pretty sure the more criticky of you out there are yelling at your screen going, "What? Journal with Witch only at number 8? That's a best of the season anime, no doubt!" And hey, I hear ya. But keep in mind, this is a list that mixes critics and general audience picks. And while critics were very high on the show, others barely said a peep about it, with even ranking sites hardly mentioning the show at all. And sure enough, on a Reddit post I came across, there was discussion about how since this is a straight up drama, there probably wouldn't be any mainstream appeal. But for those that gave the show a chance, they were treated to something truly spectacular. From how it authentically portrays grief, to how the narrative presents the story in a non-chronological order, to its director Miyuki Oshiro, who has received praise for how the show evokes emotions through quiet moments. This is a story that's going to touch those that have gone through similar loss, and shows that anime can be so much more than just action, kid stuff, or fan service. If you ended up missing out on this one, I would definitely say go back and give it a look-see, as this could be an Anime of the Year contender with how much praise has been thrust upon it. Number 7, Fate Strange Fake. This iteration of the popular franchise centers on an imitation Holy Grail war in Snowfield, Nevada, initiated by a US organization 70 years after the Third Fuyuki War. If you're like me, you may be overwhelmed or hesitant to jump into the Fate franchise since there's so many of them that you might feel you'll get lost just plunging in. And here's the thing, for Fate Strange Fake, that is absolutely true. In fact, one of the main criticisms I found is how this is not the entry for newcomers to start with, as it does rely heavily on you knowing franchise lore. This makes this entry unique as one that, yes, you should be watching. It's more of a be prepared to be lost if you know next to nothing about the series. For those that don't have that problem or don't care and want to jump in anyway, you're gonna get some very entertaining action with impressive animation. The music is also a standout, with many praising composer Hiroyuki Sawano for elevating the battles with his scores. The setting is also very unique with a more American production style, so if you wanted to see something new done with the series, this will do it for you. And yes, a second season has been confirmed. That all being said, whether this is a series you want to jump into or not will all depend on how forgiving you are being lost from time to time. Alright, before I continue on, I do want to take a minute to discuss how I did my ranking system here. See, as I scoured the internet and took a look at popular shows that were being discussed or what critics were saying was the best of the season, I started to award points to the higher of the shows. Like if the show peaked at a certain episode, it would get extra points because of it. If a show kind of started dipping in quality, obviously they wouldn't get rewarded with as many points. This isn't a matter of just 1 or 2 points. I did award quite a bit of them. Like the highest shows on here actually scored in the hundreds. I say this because I thought for sure with the way that I was kind of handing out the points, there was just no possible way I would ever get a tie. And yeah, boy, was I fucking wrong, because for the next 3 sections, yeah, I got a 3-way tie, like the exact same amount of points. And I'm like, oh, well, so much for that. But just to let you know, I don't want to play favorites for these next 3 entries, so I'm just gonna list them alphabetically. So bear with me here as we jump into this next 3. Number 4.1, Hell's Paradise Season 2. Continuing the deadly struggle for survival on Shinsenkyo Island, Gabimaru faces memory loss while fighting new powerful enemies as a second stronger expedition of samurai and ninjas arrives. The survivors must master Tao to confront the immortal Tensen and escape. If you saw the first season of Hell's Paradise, then you may agree with me that the show was somewhat disappointing. Not that it was bad, but that the premise didn't feel utilized to its full potential. As such, I thought about staying away from the second season, but then...
全然力が入ってませんよ。なんだかいつかの一種返しみたい。もう少しだけ続けましょうか。
Connie, any comments?
I have the most awkward boner!
Yeah, Ditto. Weird fetishes aside, this is a much better season with intense and satisfying action, great character development, and some impressive looking animation. This is what I wanted the first season to be like. That being said, it's not perfect. A lot of the newer characters are underutilized and there are some cop-out moments that should have been emotionally impactful, but then the show either speeds past them or backs off as if saying, just kidding everyone. And you know what, for a new series that wasn't afraid to kill off a ton of characters in the first season, this time I just didn't get that same tension in that regard. Now, as of now, there has been no official confirmation of a season 3, which is worrisome as the season does end on a cliffhanger. So if you decide to back off until we get the confirmation that the show is gonna, actually conclude, I completely understand that. But if you do decide to dive in, know that you're in for a good time, especially when just looking at the second season. Number 4.2, Tamen's B-Side. Following Utage Kinoshita, a high schooler and devoted fan of Face boy band member Tamen Fukuhara, she's working as a housekeeper when she is chosen to work for Tamen and discovers his private persona is the opposite of his sexy wild stage persona. He is actually a gloomy, insecure, introverted young man. Right off the bat, I need to mention that if you're not a fan of shows going a million miles an hour, this is not gonna be for you. The first 2 episodes in particular were non-stop, and my wife and I, who are watching the show currently, couldn't get into it fully because of that. It does slow its roll after that, but be aware that one of the major complaints is that the romance slows down a bit too much, with little progress being made by the season's end. So if you're looking for more of a romance instead of a comedy, you may be a little disappointed here. That being said, the show is generally being praised for how it tackles the whole fangirl aspect, as it's typically more of a made fun of personality, so it's refreshing to see it treated more respectfully here. Voice actress Saori Hayami's performance as the protagonist Utage has also been praised for how quickly she needs to shift her voice in various directions. There are also people that have become fans of the fictional boy band's music in the anime, as they do seem to have thought put behind the songs. Bottom line here is if you're looking for a comedy with romantic elements to it, you're gonna have a good time. If you're looking for more of a romance with comedic elements in there, you may be somewhat disappointed. Also keep in mind that as of right now, there is no season 2 announced, so this is all you're getting until that gets greenlit. Number 4.3, You and I Are Polar Opposites. A bubbly, straightforward romantic comedy following Suzuki, an energetic trend-following girl, and Tani, a quiet, stoic boy who begin dating after a misunderstanding. Another rom-com entry, only this one is a series that both critics and fans have been wildly praising, with many saying it subverts the typical tropes that are present in rom-coms and has an authentic portrayal of teenage life. You don't get any of that misunderstanding that's so popular in these types of shows, and many of the writings are very typical to what Gen Zers go through. If you're a fan of English dubs rather than watching subs, voice actress Sayumi Suzushiro has been praised for her high-energy portrayal of Suzuki. In terms of negatives, there's really not much at all that I could find. Some people do have nitpicks, such as the pacing in the show not being what everyone wants it to be. Some people said the background art is pretty, but it's so pretty it can be distracting at points. I mean, none of these have been overly reported, but I thought I'd mention them just to say something in the negative category here. All in all, this seems to be one of the most popular shows of the season with both critics and general audiences. So yeah, if you haven't checked this one out, you want something cute and romantic, and Tamen's B-Side kind of failed to deliver on one of those aspects, this may be the next show to check out. A second season is also coming, so if you ended up being a fan of the show, there is more goodness coming your way. Okay, with those 3 entries out of the way, we can now get back to the regular structure of the ranking. And with 3 left, quite honestly, I don't think you're going to be at all surprised to what these last picks are, so yeah, just sit back and, I don't know, just don't prepare to be amazed, I guess. Number 3, Jujutsu Kaisen, The Culling Game, Part 1. Yuji Itadori and Megumi Fushiguro enter Kenjaku's forced battle royale to save Tsumiki, free Gojo, and protect Tengen. I mean, what can I say about the series that you don't already know? This season continues the overwhelming praise that has followed the show since its premiere. Heck, some are even saying that it is an incredible improvement over the manga, which makes me believe that this will no doubt be considered as an Anime of the Year contender. I mean, practically all the other seasons have as well, so this is also the only anime that's actually won Anime of the Year twice. So yeah, I think the odds that it's going to be a contender are pretty much already written in stone. Like, animation is still breathtaking, with the action being a cacophony of sights and sounds, and the finale definitely leaves things on a high note, and will most likely keep fans satiated until Part 2 releases. On the negative side, I do feel that the over-the-top animation can be a bit too jarring at points. Like, if you were to tell me you couldn't follow the action, I'd believe you. And there are fights here that do that stupid, "Oh, you got the best of me, but what you didn't know is that I actually have this power. Oh, well, that's good because actually I have this power. Oh, well, I didn't tell you my true power yet. I have this power." And it's that stupid bullshit that is so infuriating. It's actually one of my biggest pet peeves in anime. So yeah, also I feel that it can feel convoluted with the whole explaining about what goes on with like the rules of the tournament or how the individual powers work, and quite honestly, I wish the show would just shut the fuck up and get on with it. Like, I really don't care about the scientific reasoning behind why any of these powers work. Just show them, don't tell us. But of course, my complaints will go on deaf ears, as this series is incredibly popular, and all my bitching aside, I am still enjoying the show enough to continue following it, so make that what you will. I will say that I'm quite surprised they haven't given a full announcement when Part 2 is coming out. Like, this is something that kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger. Like, that final battle is excellent. You want to see more where the tournament's ultimately going to go. So for them to not have, like, everything kind of already set on when the next part is coming, I think is a little bit odd. But it is coming, that much is assured, so you're just gonna have to be patient. Number 2, Oshi no Ko Season 3. Picking up 6 months after the events of Season 2, the story centers on the rising fame of Bee Kamachi and the diverging paths of Aqua and Ruby. Another successful entry for Oshi no Ko, as some are calling this the best season yet. I personally wouldn't go that far, but there's no denying that we're getting closer to the exciting climax of the anime, with the announced Season 4 finishing things up. Honestly, the thing that this season does best is finally give Ruby more of a leading role, while Aqua takes a much needed breather during the first half. As such, we see how she tackles the industry in her own way, and the strings she pulls to get what she wants, which continues the show's great dynamic of showing us what the inner turmoil of the industry is all about. However, as was to be expected, Aqua does come back into the limelight, which wouldn't have been bad if not for, first, the cop-out reason for his return, second, Ruby's push out of the limelight, and third, the problematic elements that we knew were coming and I was secretly hoping would be worked around somehow. Like, I'm not gonna say what it is in case you don't know. It is kind of a spoiler, but suffice to say, while this isn't my favorite season of the show, it is a solid one. And if you've been following along since the beginning, you'll enjoy the many twists and turns contained within. No announcement as of this recording for when that final season is coming, but I hope we don't have to wait long because I do want to see the conclusion. Things are definitely starting to get good, if a bit creepy as well. Number 1, Frieren, Beyond Journey's End Season 2. Frieren, Fern, and Stark journey through the dangerous Northern Plateau, exploring themes of memory, legacy, and emotional growth. I'm sure some of you may be thinking, well, this is a no-brainer for being number 1, but honestly, it was a close call between this and Oshi no Ko. Still, Frieren reigns supreme, and it's not hard to see why. Once again, the show has received critical acclaim, making it a potential Anime of the Year contender. Heck, the first episode set a record in Japan for most people streaming it on certain services. We have a new director in the chair this time around, with Tomoya Kitagawa taking over from Keiichiro Saito. But despite this, fans noted that the show was still consistent and barely noticed any negative impacts. That all being said, while certain fans have claimed that they felt the pace of the show was slower than the previous season, my take on it is as such. I feel that this season, more than the first, relied too much on coincidences. It was present in the first season as well, but there was something about its approach here that made it distracting. I also think the show ends on a lackluster note, feeling more like just another episode rather than a true season finale. And lastly, there are some missed opportunities with character development that I felt were lined up perfectly, only for nothing to be done with them. That is to say, this is definitely a weaker season than the first, but it's still goddamn fantastic, and did end up being my personal favorite anime of the season as well, flaws and all. I can't wait for the next season, which has been confirmed to be releasing late next year. Here's hoping that it makes the top of the list once again during that time. And that's all I have for you for this season's anime. Now, once again, if you were angry about something's placement or upset that something was left out, keep in mind, it's your list. You should be talking about your favorite anime of the season much more. So, argue with each other in the comments below over why the other is stupid for picking what they did, or talking about what they liked, or critics what the heck's wrong with them with liking this show but not this one. What have you, I don't care. And, just talk about things that you wish you would have seen or how you would rank them on your own personal list. I am going to try to do this every single season. I don't know if I'll always be able to, but I'm going to try to make it a mission. I do like anime a lot, and I do want to talk about it more, so this will kind of give me an excuse to do so. So yes, until the next video, everybody, like always, stay safe out there, watch more anime, and of course, have a good one.